Hello, Odoers! Today we're going to use the CRM app. The CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, and customer relationships are something we want to optimize here at Stealthy Wood. As our company grows, it becomes more challenging to keep track of everything we have to get done and where we're at with each customer. But thanks to Odoo's CRM app, we no longer have to walk from one desk to another just to stay up to date. Instead, all of our sales information is neatly organized in our pipeline. As a sales team manager, identifying the stages to complete a deal and the actions required at each stage is key to success. When your process is clearly defined, your sales team knows exactly what they have to do to efficiently move customers forward in the pipeline until deals are won. So let's dive in to see how the CRM app helps Stealthy Wood be more efficient. All right, so here I am on my database. Now we're going to go straight to the CRM application. And once we're there, we're going to have an overview of all of our opportunities. Now we refer to this view as the Kanban view. And I know that all of these opportunities are mine because if I go to the search bar, we're going to have a filter there by default, My Pipeline. Now, if I remove that filter, I'm going to see all of the opportunities that I have the access rights to see. All right, so now let's go ahead and create a new opportunity. So to do that, I'm going to click on Create, or I can quickly create a new opportunity for each stage by clicking on this little plus, or what we call the Quick Add button. So for now, I'm just going to click on Create, which is going to create an opportunity in the new stage. And I'm first going to add the customer or the company name. Okay, now I can create a new customer if it is a new customer, or I can use an existing customer. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select an existing customer, Azure Interior. Now, when I choose an existing customer, their email, phone number, or whatever information that we have for them is going to be automatically populated here. So in this case, we do have their email, but we do not have their phone number. All right, now for a new customer, of course, we will not have that information, so we will need to populate it then ourselves. So for example, if we didn't already know their phone number, but I know it now, I can go ahead and add it right now. Now I'm going to fill in the expected revenue. So let's go ahead and say this is for 2,000 euros, which is a pretty good sum of money. So I'm going to make this a high priority, not the highest, but I'm going to select 2 stars. That's how I'm going to prioritize my opportunities. And the priority we choose will determine how our opportunities are sorted, which makes sense since we want our higher value opportunities to be at the top of our pipeline, or the top of the list of each stage. All right, so now I'm going to add it, but before I do, I would like to point out that the only required information for this opportunity is the opportunity title. So what we see right here, now I know that's required because the line is in bold, but it's good to make sure that you include as much information as possible. All right, so let's click on Add. All right, now I can still see this opportunity in my pipeline, even though I do have the filter My Pipeline, because by default, I'm assigned to all opportunities that I've created myself. All right, so I can remove or change that assignation if I need to later on, but if I created it, then I will be assigned by default. Okay, so I have been talking to this customer and have been able to qualify this opportunity a little bit. So I'm actually going to drag it from the new stage to the qualified stage. Now the expected revenue at the top of our column is going to be the estimated revenue for that entire stage. So it will be updated as the opportunities are moved through the pipeline. So for example, if I move it back to new, we're going to see that this total will change with the 2,000 euros that are expected for that specific opportunity. But since I know they're qualified, let's move it back to the qualified stage. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and open up the opportunity, and I'm going to click on Edit. All right, so within this view, I can add more information if I haven't already inputted, such as the email, phone number, the salesperson. I can even change the salesperson if I need to, or remove the salesperson simply. All right, if this salesperson is part of a specific sales team, that field will automatically be populated. If they're not a part of a sales team, it will remain blank. We can even choose the expected closing date if we know it, and we can also change the priority here from this view as well, so we don't have to do that only from the Kanban view. All right, and we can also add some tags. So let's imagine for Azure Interior, I've been communicating with them mostly via email. For that, I would actually like to add a tag to remind myself and to maybe let my colleagues know that if they're checking out this opportunity as well. So I can either select those that are in the list, I can search for them by starting to type the tag name, and I can create one on the fly as well by clicking on the create button, but a tag already exists for email, so let's go ahead and select it. Now, when I do create a tag on the fly, the color will automatically be chosen at random by Odoo, but I can change it by selecting the tag, and I can choose any other color, or I can hide it in the Kanban view. Now, I don't actually want it to be hidden in the Kanban view because if I do select a color, the tag will show up as a dot with that color on the opportunity in the Kanban view, and we'll look at that later. Now, we'll also have a space for internal notes. So if I just need to add an extra description for my colleagues or even reminders to myself, and I can also add some extra information as well, such as the contact information, job position, who they were referred by, and so on. All right, so let's go ahead and save this. Now, for some reason, if you want to make a duplicate of this opportunity, you can do so from the action menu right here at the top center. All right, you'll just click on duplicate, and that will make a complete copy of the opportunity, which you can then modify after the fact. Something else I can do is to create a quotation directly here from the opportunity. So you don't have to go to the sales application to do that. You can do that from here, from the CRM app, which is really convenient. Now, in this case, let's imagine that we already sent a quotation to the customer, meaning that I can move them from the qualified stage to the proposition stage. And rather than doing that from the Kanban view, I can also do that here. All right, I will just select proposition right here, and the stage has changed. Okay, so now let's imagine that the customer came back to us and said, wow, this offer is so great. I would like to double my order. Good job. So while we're here in the opportunity, I'm going to go ahead and edit the opportunity to reflect what they want. So let's go ahead and change the expected revenue to 4,000. And actually, I failed to mention it before, but they want to order 200 lamps. Now, should I say 400 lamps? So I'm going to go ahead and modify that. So you can always modify after the fact. It's no problem. All right, so we're going to save this. Now, I want to make sure that my team members know that we're offering this client a second proposition for the 400 lamps. Okay, so I sent them a proposition, a quote for the 200 that they originally wanted, and now they want 400. But the problem here is that I don't currently have a stage for second propositions in my pipeline. So I have the new stage, qualified, proposition, and one. But what I'll do is create a stage for the second proposition. So I simply have to click on add a column on the right, second proposition. All right, and then we're gonna add, and then I can drag this and drop it to be wherever I want it to be. So in this case, I'm gonna put it between proposition and one. Of course, makes sense. Okay, and we can edit this stage as well. So I can click on the little little gear icon, and click on edit stage. All right, and here I can determine if it's a one stage, which it will not be in this case. I can say if it should always be folded in the pipeline. All right, I can even specify a specific sales team, and we'll do that in the case, let's say, if we assign that second propositions are really only for our European sales team. So if I add them as the sales team for this column, then opportunities in this stage will only be visible to them. All right, so I won't do that, but just know that you do have that option there. And then you can also add some additional requirements as well. So let's say that you already need to give an offer to the customer by email. We can add those requirements here. All right, so let's go ahead and save it the way that it is though, and we're going to drag and drop our opportunity to this new stage. So we're gonna go ahead and drag and drop, and now I'm gonna click on the opportunity. And I want to point out here the probability that's displayed. Now, as we move our opportunity through the pipeline, the probability will be updated. So, for example, if I move this back to qualified, we're going to see that that probability has changed. Now, you'll notice that in qualified, it will actually be a little bit higher than it was in second proposition, as the second proposition stage is brand new. So if I go to proposition, a stage that has been existing for quite a while, we're going to see that that probability is now very high. Now, Odoo calculates your probability to win a deal based on your past data, meaning that the more we feed our database with won and lost opportunities, the more accurate our predictions become. And that's part of the reason why the probability here in our new column is so low, is because we haven't added a lot of data yet, so Odoo doesn't know really what the probability is. So it's the same as what you would see in a new stage. All right. But we're going to go over wins and losses in another video, so don't worry. Now, if I click on edit, I can also manage the probability myself if I feel like it's necessary. So for example, let's say we think the probability here is only 10%. We can save, and we can also manage it that way. But if we would rather stick with Odoo's calculation, then we can always change it back by clicking on the little cog. All right, just like that. So it's super easy to modify. Now, to see how our probabilities are calculated, we're going to head over to configuration and then settings. All right, and we're going to go to our predictive lead scoring, this setting, and we're going to see what fields are being used in the probability computation. So we have state, country, phone quality, email quality, and source. Now, these fields can be removed or added to better fit your company's needs. So let's say I would like language to be added. I'm going to go ahead and add it simply by selecting. Okay, and then we can remove phone quality, for example, because that's not something we really measure here at Stealthy Wood. Okay, so it's super easy to modify exactly what we're basing that lead scoring on. So let's, of course, save our changes. Very important. We always want to save our changes. All right. So now that we've seen how our pipeline and opportunities work in a basic form, we should also talk about the reporting capabilities of the CRM app. So let's click on the reporting menu here, and we're going to see that we can choose between pipeline and activities as our options. But in this case, we're going to look at pipeline, as we're going to discuss activities in a different video. So be sure you check it out. All right, so now that we're here in reports, we're going to see that we have opportunities. This is our filter here, that we have opportunities that were created in 2021 as our current filters. And if we want to change any of these filters, we can click on filters, and we can even see different historical data by changing the year or the quarter. So we have a lot of options there. We can even just check out the opportunities that are won or lost. And we can even create our own custom filters, depending on what kind of information that you want to see. So here, I'm using demo data, and of course, your reporting will reflect your own company's data. And something else I want to point out is we can also change the measurements and how the information is grouped just here from the main view. So I have my measures. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and measure based on probability. All right, and then I'm going to group by different things as well. All right, so this is just for this first graph that we have. And then we're going to group by, let's say, country, but of course we want to remove the things that we are already grouping by. So I can remove them simply by unchecking or selecting them again. Okay, and then we're going to add country. All right, and then I see how the report changes right away. It's instant, of course, and we can group by many things as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add, let's say, email and job position as well. All right, so you're going to see how that changes. And then you can, of course, change the view of the type of graph that you have. And then you have a lot of different things here where you can also change the measures as well. So it really depends on the exact kind of information that you're looking for. So you can get all kinds of reports. So the CRM application and pipeline, the reporting features, they really can help you track what's happening with your opportunities, your sales, and your sales teams, and make your team more efficient than ever before. So that's all I've got. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video, dear doers. And of course, if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.